So, dual enrollment challenge, right? Two institutions, you are now dually enrolled. You're going to start in the fall. We got to talk about some things and some tools to help you be prepared to walk in the door at North Wake and have a plan, and you are learning how to be the best scholar that you truly can be. So we'll talk about collegiate responsibility. We're going to talk about collegiate rigor, and we're also going to talk about degree completion. Somebody took control of my screen. I'm going to take it back. Thank you very much. All right. Let me get my little red pointer out here too while we're doing this. So, collegiate responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, the hardest part about transitioning from Wake County Public Schools to Wake Tech Community College is effective time management, right? So, checking your email regularly, creating a plan for studying. What does studying actually mean? Some of you have been in the ninth and 10th grade and you guys memorize things, but is that truly beyond the test, the knowledge that is going to help you get an industry certification? Maybe, maybe not, right? So we've got to look at ways to really retain that information. Big, big, big part of effective time management is turning in assignments on time. I will say most of my Wake Tech instructors do not or will not take late work. Okay? So we got to step it up a little bit. Effective time management is key, and it's really one of those things that if you can learn it and master it early, you'll do pretty well. Okay? Second, you got to learn how to advocate for yourself. All right? This is college, and if you don't make a sound, nobody will know you're there. Okay? So if you need help, we've got resources. We want to be able to help you. All right? And you get to use college resources outside of wellness services. You get to use those services just like any traditional student would at Wake Tech. So we want to see you speaking up for yourself. That's a process as well. You can speak to your instructor, and I am your biggest cheerleader. So I I actually probably need to get me some Wake Tech pom poms, but um, I will cheer you on, and I am your advocate for the next couple of years. All right, build and grit. I guarantee you, there's gonna come a point in time where guess what? It's gonna get hard. It's gonna get challenging. Some of you are working. Some of you are taking AP courses. There are gonna be some challenges, right? But are you practicing a growth mindset? Are you mindful of the effort and the time that you are given? Are you practicing being resilient and persevering? Sometimes it's okay to fail, right? Especially during 13th year. I've got students that thought they were all that, right? Until they got that college schedule and it was kind of like, oh, all right. But here's the thing. Can you learn from your mistake? Can you not repeat that mistake? I want you to get practice doing that now, primarily because I don't want you to make that mistake when you have to pay for your courses. All right? So let's build some grit. And then last but not least, proactive communication with your instructors, with your parents, and with the Wake Tech staff. All right? Both sides of the house, Wake County and Wake Tech, we support each other. Okay? And so we want to see students do well. Keep in mind, students are earning, well, Wake Tech classes are counting twice. All right? College transcript and your high school transcript. So we want to make sure that we are building responsibility along the way. Let's talk about rigor. Okay? This is a great opportunity to start with the end in mind. And so the end in mind, in my opinion, which is probably just the beginning for you, but for the parents that are on, um, hopefully we want our students to pursue 2 and 4 year institutions after completing high school. May or may not be true. Maybe students interested in workforce or military. But when it's time to invest your money, we want students to have the skill set to be successful. We want them to know a little bit more about themselves and know exactly what it takes in different types of classes. So we do that fairly responsibly, in my opinion, at North Wake. Our Wake Tech classes, 5 days a week, mostly double block, 3 hours a day. That's 15 hours a week in a college class. That's a lot of support. That's a lot of time with the instructor, right? So we want them to be able to advocate for themselves during that time. And really and truthfully, we shouldn't be taking too much Wake Tech work home. We should be getting it done and utilizing that time in class since you have so much of it, right? So our faculty are actually working beyond what a normal college course would be to provide support for our students. So I'm gonna use my pointer. I'm gonna change it to blue. And so we've got the junior year, we've got the senior year, we've got possibly the 13th year and higher ed. We're going to start with the end in mind. We've got Wake Tech courses 5 days a week, 15 hours a week. We're hoping that it's getting the gears turning the junior year, right? We hope that's what's happening. And if they're successful first semester, fall semester, then starting spring semester, which is my recommendation, we start adding fifth period, sixth period, and elective replacement courses. So these are going to be traditional Wake Tech classes. If you're interested in taking classes beyond just what the certificate is, those might be 8 or 16 week in duration. They have to be within the same program area of study, but they're available summer, fall, and spring. And we've got different types as well. We've got online and we've got seated. Most of the time, our juniors and seniors are doing online courses because during the school day, it doesn't really make for leaving campus and hitting a Wake Tech campus in time for class. So some of those could be 16 weeks long. All right. All of that with rigor, with AP courses if you're taking them, or with a focus on degree completion, will hopefully bring us to a decision at the end of 12th grade year in which hopefully we've learned what we need to learn, but we're starting to factor in the financial responsibility. All right? Which type of college student are you? My advice, please stay away from student loans. Part of the reason why I do my job, ladies and gentlemen, is because I don't think I've said this publicly, but I've got 2 degrees and $191,000 in student loan. Yes, I said that right. $191,000 in student loan debt, right? Thankfully, thankfully, a lot of that has been forgiven, right? But I want to help make sure that our students have an informed process. I wasn't informed. I went to a private, out-of-state institution and then a private in-state institution for both of my degrees. Our students have an opportunity to save money, be smart, and make informed decisions about their future. Okay? So when we get here, you got a choice. You can either graduate, go to a 4 year, boom, here, or you can plan to do 13th year. And so with 13th year, students are on a pathway for degree completion with a full-time college schedule and a Wake County seminar course. Okay? So that's how students maintain tuition-free status, and they've still got to be high school students, right? For that 13th year. Hopefully, they've learned a lot. They've taken a variety of classes, seated online, 8 week, 16 week, in person, all of it. Okay? They've taken it, they've been successful. So now you have the skill set. So when it's time for you to invest in your education, you have a better idea of how to be successful. So that's our collegiate rigor plan. Degree completion plan, last one. So if you look here, we've got 3 different parts, right? A Wake Tech certificate is what everybody will earn junior and senior year, hopefully, is about 1/3 of the degree. In all of our program areas, students are averaging between um, 20, what, 2 and 27 credits during the junior and senior year, depending on the program of study. Then if we add in those transferable credits, those extra classes that we're talking about, that's about half. So between 12 and 15 credits and the 24 that you're earning, that's about half of the degree program. And then in order to complete the degree, we absolutely need that 13th year. Okay? That's where we get that full-time college schedule. Yes, the student is going to walk with their graduating class. They have met all of the graduation requirements for high school, but they don't get that diploma in that folder when they walk across that stage. It will be blank and empty. Okay? We will withhold that diploma until they graduate 13th year. All right? So that's how we complete the degree. All of those are needed if we are going to complete the degree. Now, some might just complete a Wake Tech certificate. Some might just do transferable credits and the Wake Tech certificate. You've got to decide what's best for you. Okay? So what does all this look like? Within this dual enrollment challenge, what does the schedule look like? So we're going to go over that schedule briefly. For our IT students, guess what? Period 1 and 2, you will be in one 8-week course the first quarter and a second 8-week course the second quarter. On top of that, you will also have period 3 and period 4, two Wake County courses. If you opt to do the optional fifth period, sixth period, actually you can't do sixth period until senior year, but if you opt to do fifth period or elective replacement, that will more than likely be online and it will be 16 weeks in addition to this schedule here. Okay? Senior year, we kind of flip it a little bit. Period 1 and 2, you'll have your Wake County courses. Period 3 and 4, you'll have your Wake Tech courses. And then you also have the option of fifth, sixth, and elective replacement on top of that during the fall and spring semesters. A couple of things to consider. Fifth period, we got to consider those AP courses, all right? Those AP courses, ladies and gentlemen, can be used and can be helpful. However, if you get an A out of the course but don't pass the AP exam, we can't give you college credit for it. So it's important that you pay attention and that you are studying to pass that exam as well. So we want to factor that in when we consider taking an additional courses beyond the regular school day. We also want to know if you're working. We want to see you demonstrate good time management, at least your junior year. So there have been a few students that have come to me already and said, "Hey, Mr. Sanders, I want to sign up for a fifth period." Gotcha. Awesome. But get your toes wet first, all right? Let's see if we can get that GPA to a 4.0 or close to it before we start adding additional responsibilities as well. But not to say if you are really focused and your high school GPA unweighted and weighted are stellar, and maybe you're taking only one AP versus two, then we can talk about it and consider it. Okay? For my EMS students, it's a little different. Okay? So period 2, you will only use that for Wake Tech. And so you will actually be in two 16-week courses in the fall. Well, one in the fall and then one in the spring. EMS 140 and then Bio 163. We will be a little bit more specific about what that looks like a little bit later on as we go through the 13th year planner. New change. So at the time of you guys applying, Wake County EMS was teaching the senior level EMS 110 course. Wake Tech has now assumed responsibility for teaching that course. And so we are changing it up a little bit. Period 3 and period 4, Wake Tech will use for our senior level courses. So a little bit different than if you have friends in EMS right now. We will be using third and fourth period, and we will look at that schedule a little bit later as well and a little bit more in depth. Okay, so that's what the school day is going to look like for everybody. We've got IT and EMS covered. Let's move on. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to raise your hand or write it in the chat. Miss Terry A. Allen is manning the chat and can answer just about all the questions. All right, we good? Thumbs up if we're good. Nobody sleep on me. There we go. Got a few. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right. So free tuition opportunities at Wake Tech. And I love this quote. Opportunities are like sunrises. If you wait too long, you miss them. Okay. And so we're going to keep moving, folks. I will make an announcement in your classes. You may or may not sign up for them. It's up to you. This is college, so I'm not about to beg you. Okay. Especially if you're not dedicated to doing the work. Yes, there is no 13th year for EMS, but we will talk about another option. Okay? We'll get to that in a second. So, fifth period, you've heard me say that. We've talked a little bit about, or we haven't talked about option two, summer school, and we've talked a little bit about 13th year. So, let's go in depth, or a little bit further in depth about those options. So, fifth period, sixth period elective replacement. In order to take math and English courses, a student must have a 2.8 unweighted GPA. They to place in our math classes. 13th year is a little bit different story, but we need that 2.8 unweighted for English and math classes. Um, these are courses that may or may not transfer to a four-year institution. You don't necessarily have to take transferable gen eds during fifth and sixth period, but those are the ones we just kind of focus on to give you that option. I offer two classes, one in the fall, one in the spring, an English 111 course in the fall, and that course is online from 4 to 5 p.m. So our bus riders can make it home, hop on class, and get a fifth period experience, kind of like what we're doing right here in a meeting, a virtual meeting. And then I have Humanities 115 in the spring. Both of those courses are common to just about all the program areas of study. I suggest starting with one of those first and foremost. Helps us stay connected, and those instructors know how to reach out to me, and we know how to check progress in those courses a little bit easier than we would traditional college courses within the college. Okay, so let's talk about summer school. So summer school at Wake Tech is either a 10-week session or an 8-week session, but it is vastly different than the sessions that our students have been in during the school year. They can take those courses seated or they can take them online. But they move very, very quickly, and they are traditional college courses. So the student is responsible for transportation to and from a Wake Tech campus if they choose to take a seated class. I highly, highly, highly recommend seated courses when available. Kind of gets the student's frame of mind that this is actually on a college campus. I'm taking it with traditional students, and there's a certain level of expectation there that I think is healthy for our high school students to kind of get into that mode and that mindset of being a college student. However, they can do just as fine in a online course as well. You got to meet with me in order to plan that out, and students have to meet the prerequisites of those courses and have above a 2.0 GPA on the Wake Tech side. Okay, so that's summer school, and then a little bit more about 13th year. Again, our students would graduate with their class. They will walk across that stage, but tuition free. Tuition is still free. They would take a seminar course, and students would take about 12 to 15 credits per semester, and that includes the fall, the spring, and the summer if necessary. Okay? So, awesome option for our students that are interested in degree completion.